Just so that we're clear, they're talking about your children, not about their children when they say that, okay? They're talking about black and brown children. They're talking about children that are not resident in their household. Because the fact of the matter is, no matter how much we want to argue against it, 7 out of 10 jobs by 2018 are going to require some level of post-high school education. 7 out of 10 jobs. So we can say all the things that we want about, oh, our kids should go to college. But about 70% of jobs are going to require college, and the rest of them will be, you'll be very successful if you can move your wrist supplely on the grill. So you have to think about what the workforce is going to look like in the United States. We have to have a high-value workforce. We're not investing in a college system that provides it, and we're not encouraging kids to be ready to do that when they get there. So let's talk about the students as they're coming to college. I mean, Sandy made the point, I think it's significant. It's a subjective comment that Sandy referred to, but 1/3 are prepared, according to their high school teachers. Only 1/3 of students who arrive at college are ready to do the work. So let's think about what we're getting right now. And I'm going to say this, Ken didn't ask me for the conversation or the plug, but College Summit is really addressing some of these issues that we're trying to talk about. 1 in 5 of each age group cohort fails to complete high school. White, black, everybody together. For Hispanics and black, the proportion is closer to 1 and 2. And let's be really clear here, the real crisis is with boys. The real crisis is with boys. 2/5 will have either an associate's degree or some college, and only 1/5 will obtain a bachelor's degree. Colorado has the 4th highest dropout rate in the country. Think about what this means. So when you want to put this in business perspective, think about what it means. The full resource burden associated with an adequate education in Colorado is $524,000 per student. There's 62,000 ninth graders in school today, roughly. 62,435, roughly. That means that every year, each additional cohort of Colorado dropouts costs the state over $6 billion over their life. Okay? So is there a reason for us to invest? Matt, what are we investing in higher ed this year?
$513 billion.
Okay, we're investing $513 million today. What are we losing according to these statistics? $6 billion. $524,000 per life of student. So you start thinking about what's going on. What obligations do we have? What are the things we want to create? What values do we want to demonstrate that we have? So let's talk a little bit about what Colorado higher ed has to do. What's our challenge? I'm going to make this comment. Dick Lamb is a great friend, and he said to me one time, he said, I did the early childhood stuff, I was talking about higher ed, he says, you know what? There is no political price to be paid for failing to fund higher education in Colorado. How many of you got your degree in Colorado? Okay. And how many did? What happens is that if you look at the jobs that are created, roughly speaking right now, we've had some hard times. Colorado creates 62,000 jobs a year. It produces only 31,000 kids who are available. Remember, let's go back to the cohort. There's 62,000 kids per year in each cohort, right? So if we produce 61,000 jobs, we throw away 31,000 people basically. We're not preparing them for school. Are we doing them any favor? Are we doing ourselves any favor? Now the issue is politically, you can get somebody to move from Cleveland. Did you raise your hand from out of state?
I went to undergrad out of state, but I went to Regis.
Where did you go undergrad?
St. Thomas University in Roosevelt.
See, it's great. I mean, it's cold in the winter. It's great to be here, isn't it? So you start thinking about, we commercially can import people, but is that fair to our own kids? So I go back to that. So let's talk a little bit about what we have to think about when we want to get the ratios right. Because right now, the ratios are perfect. 62,000 kids, 61,000 jobs. Sorry for the other 1,000. If we did it right, we'd really build the economy. Matriculation of boys. Right now, only about 40% of all college seats in America are held by boys. You know, that's a big problem. I look at Jesse, I know what the work you're doing. You look at a place like Colorado Mesa, I'm really proud that we're about 50-50, boys to girls. But we had to add all kinds of athletic programs, we have to do all kinds of things. We have to spend all kinds of money to make sure that we recruit and retain boys. Think about the completion rate. If you look at the best schools in Colorado, state schools, CU, CSU, they'll complete at a little over 60%. At Mesa, which is an access college for people that are a lot like my background, we only complete to 40%. We were as low as 29%. If you evaluated our school compared to a for-profit college, we'd be getting a little flack too. But because we're a state university, et cetera, we don't quite take it. But our board takes very seriously this idea of completion. So let's start thinking about new ways of delivering services to kids. Training. The idea of having a continuum, I think that Matt talked a little bit about this, but the idea of training. What does training look like so that you have kids starting to get on the track? Certificates, credentials. Chain all of those together to form degrees. So that anytime I take, let's say I have to take remedial education, I at least have a 4-course circuit that says, here's what I get in terms of my training. Let's say I take some set of courses in economics, I get a certificate in a particular component of that. So gradually you're building together with what you want to do. Think about when Matt talked about credentials. You get a kid who moves from a 2-year community college to a 4-year college, gets to that 60th hour. It's important for it to be done in a really constructive way. Last comment to make on this area is once you've chained these things together to form degrees that have relevance, you have to think about using technology to prepare undergraduates and retain existing workforce. To retrain the workforce is a pretty critical element of what we want to get accomplished. So I always say that you measure what you treasure. Those things that you have specific objectives for, you tend to meet.